Ever since I started creating 3D environments, I've always been obsessed with telling a story in my own way. I wanted to create something entirely different to stand out from the crowd and find my own style. Anime, music, and video games have always been the main contributors to my life, and the creation of these future artworks is a story of how I view things actually. But of course, I had many problems when I first started. I struggled learning the program, I didn't understand composition fully, and I need to learn many different things if I wanted to create complex renders. So, let's start 4 years ago where I had a vision drawn on literal paper to what continued my obsession to create much more in the future. When I very much first started creating 3D renders, I always enjoyed watching anime. Anime is something that can be life-changing to people, from the characters, to the music, and even the art style. At the time I started watching Oregairu, and ever since I finished watching this series, I looked at life in a very different way now. It has themes of social dynamics and personal growth of the main characters, and honestly, it inspired me to draw this terrible, and rough sketch of a scene I thought of in Oregairu. I had a vision of the same atmosphere. The main character sitting in this calm, quiet classroom, and yet this one room alone has a lot to tell in itself. I only had very little knowledge of drawing, but as long as I got my thoughts on paper, it would help picture how I want this to look. Basically, it's a piece of toast sitting on a chair at a desk. Modeling is one of my favorite parts of creating these 3D renders because I can be as creative as I want and try to push the limits of what I can do with modeling. Kinda fast forward 3 years later, I have expanded my knowledge to modeling. They may not be as clean as they could be, but definitely more chaotic. Now, the main focus I want to make here is the desk and chair. With this, I also added paintings, cardboard boxes, and a whole chalkboard in the background. Once I have most of the assets and the stage ready, it's time to start making the composition. Looking at it from a basic perspective from the viewport, the composition follows the rule of thirds, and is ready for the next step in the process. One of the most important aspects to any scene is the amount of light or use of it. It can change the whole atmosphere by one point light or an overall sunlight. Here, I decided to emphasize the soft light rays coming from the window and give that after school setting. I always felt this setting froze time, like something emotional was about to happen, like a life lesson I was supposed to learn from. So, these are the basics to this lighting, as I can alter the colors more in post-production using curves and target the saturation or brightness however I like. You know, working with shaders is its own beast to tackle. You have UV wrapping, realistic textures, layering, and many more options to really optimize the workflow. However, for me, I decided to approach textures using only two colors, pink and blue. I used a basic tile texture to create the floor along with the ambient occlusion. Another cool effect I use here are the clouds. Here, I basically use a noise texture with a transparent shader to create this effect. With this, I can just customize the colors however I like. I really wanted to keep the essence of that afternoon after school look. With all that work, here's the finished product. I really enjoyed the lighting that really conveyed the look I was going for. If you like more videos where I break down different renders I've made, please like and subscribe for more toast. If you have any questions that I didn't cover in this video, let me know in the comments. Or if you have any suggestions as to what I should make or talk about in the future, let me know as well. Also, if you'd like to use this project to get a better understanding of this breakdown, you can head over to my Patreon for the file for free, as well as for future projects I'll be doing in the future. Thank you for giving me a chance and stepping into my world.